What's up, YouTube? We are out in the wild today with my main man, Dave.
What's up, guys?
Dave, say hello. We are out here today talking about gratification, and we're going to tell you guys what that means because I know it's going to be kind of a confusing topic for a lot of you. But we will explain. There are some passing cars. We'll try not to talk when the cars pass so that you can hear us well, like a car just passed now. And we're going to be talking about gratification. So I hope you enjoy this talk. I hope it's informative for you and you get something out of it. Okay. Dave's going to start us off talking about the importance of an idea.
Yeah, so Finn originally came to me and he said, hey, we should do these talks, I think we could have these really cool talks if you and I just get together and discuss these ideas of importance. And really, it was what brought us to that was the idea that an idea in general can be something, life-changing. You should never really underestimate the importance of an idea. And I guess is the conclusion that we had both came to, because in our lives, we've realized a few things, and these realizations you have, these profound, ideas you come across can significantly influence your life and change your life. Finn was just telling me in the car, he came to the realization at one point that, the path is not rigid.
Yeah.
And since then.
Yeah, exactly. Like what Dave said, that ideas have this immense impact in your life, and you have the opportunity when an idea is presented to you to let it infiltrate your mind and to let it do something for you and let it change your life. And a lot of people today in society, they get these strong ideas presented to them and they tend to not really let their mind shift very much, and they tend to stay really rigid. And that was one of the things that I've currently realized in my life, is that the path is not rigid. There's a lot of ways you can go in life, and there's a lot of different things you can do as a human being, and you're not restricted to, other people's standards, other people's expectations. What really matters is, what you want to do and what is better for your life. And I think that's something really important to realize. Yeah. So the power of an idea is, something that we really want to stress here. But now we're going to get into the main topic today, which is gratification. And Dave and I had a really long conversation on our trip to Yosemite about gratification and really what gratification is to people and how it affects people today, why it's so important, and why it's so important to realize what is gratifying to you. But Dave's going to start off with that and tell you more about what is gratification and why it's so important in your life and how it's necessary for every human. Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, and I guess just a little bit more of a preface before jumping into the idea. Just the idea itself, really, we came to understand these ideas just from, actually taking the time to think about them, and just really sitting down, collecting yourself and your own thoughts, really taking that time to really ask yourself some questions about what's important, things of meaning to you. And really it's like we also just want to encourage you to ask questions in your life, really take that time to sit down and address those subjects in your life that maybe are uncomfortable but are going to be of importance to you. Because if you're never really willing to accept ideas from other people, talk to them, there's really so much knowledge others have that they can share with you, so many of those ideas that can really impact and change your life. And at the same time, it's also really important to realize that you can come across these ideas yourself and have profound realizations that change your own life simply by thinking about your own life. Why are you the way you are? Why are things the way they are? Just really asking those questions. So this idea itself, I came across just through contemplating a lot of asking questions about why we do the things we do in life and why people are the way they are. So at the same time, just realize that there's plenty of ideas like this you can come to yourself. So I guess with that, the idea in particular was, I tried to tell it to Finn last time when we were in the middle of Yosemite. We were having a philosophical conversation down by the river, and it was, the idea is like acclimatization to gratification. So kind of a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Acclimatization to gratification.
How to acclimate to gratification in your life.
Yeah. So the first, I guess, important idea is, gratification itself. When I say gratification, you might think about just, things that make you feel good.
Make you happy.
Yeah, and when you think about gratification, like what is it that you do that makes you happy? Like anything that you do, anything that you're motivated to do, it's because you're interested in it, or it's of value to you, or it's gratifying to you. So we do things inherently because
Yeah.
they're gratifying to us. Like we pursue gratification.
Yeah, all humans need gratification. It's something that you realize is all humans need it. It's a necessity. Go ahead.
Yeah, and like cognitive psychologists or whatnot, they might refer to it as reinforcement. There's positive and negative reinforcement. Likewise, gratification is kind of positive reinforcement. It's doing something and getting that dopamine rush or excitement or something interesting
Interest.
or valuable to you. So it's in life you're going to be pursuing things that are gratifying every day, all the time.
Yeah.
It's gratifying for us to eat food. It's gratifying for us to communicate with others
Yeah.
and
Do all sorts of things. I mean, I think that today you have gratification, like you said, from eating food, from hanging out with friends. You can get it from anything. You can get it from alcohol. You can get it from sex. You can get it from clicking the like button or getting likes on social media. It's all around us. And something that I wanted to touch on today is the short-term versus long-term gratification. And Dave has a really, really good point of view on this that he's kind of explained to me that when we have this acclimatization, what is it?
acclimatization.
Yeah, so you're
Acclimating.
acclimating to a form of gratification. And today people like to acclimate to a lot of really short-term gratification objects or things that give them just a little bit of gratification, and they pursue it because it's easy, it's immediate, and it's really easy to get your hands on. It's really easy to, have sugar. It's really easy to spend time with your friends, but that's a good one. It's really easy to drink alcohol. It's really easy to get those short bursts. It's really easy to comment on someone's photo. It's easy to get likes on social media. Those things are easy to get. And what we want to talk about today also is, withholding yourself for something bigger, withholding yourself for a long-term goal, a long-term piece of gratification. Because today we have a problem where we hand out all of our gratification in really small trace amounts, essentially, and we don't focus on something bigger.
And pursuing something that might not be immediately gratifying. It might not, you won't get gratified for all the work you put in just right up front, but it's knowing that long term, all the work you're putting in, you're delaying that gratification, like you're saying, long term gratification. You're really not getting it immediately, but you know that by the time you achieve that goal, you work towards what you're working towards, then it's going to be gratifying, and it's going to be gratifying in a way that's actually beneficial to yourself, something that's productive or fruitful in your life, that's going to bring more good things to you. And just to get back to the acclimatization side of things, or I guess even first the gratification. So realizing that in your life you're always pursuing gratification, like every day, that's what you do. You need to do something that's going to be fulfilling or make you happy or whatnot. And everybody's pursuing this happiness, pursuing this gratification.
They're searching for fulfillment.
Yeah, they're pursuing gratification in an attempt to find that meaningfulness or that happiness or whatnot. But it's important to realize that there are different types of gratification, and that you should choose your outlets of gratification.
Yeah, they're
wisely.
looking for things that fulfill them, but what is going to be the most fulfilling to you? What's going to give you the highest level of life satisfaction? And I think that that's something that people kind of just toss out the door. Is they don't really think about it. They don't sift through all their options of things that will gratify them and things that will make their life positive. They just kind of, like I said earlier, they throw out their pieces of gratification at all this different stuff, and they don't think, this is what I want to use my gratification on. Because like you said, everybody needs gratification. Everybody needs to feel like they've done something and they've accomplished something, and using that energy and using that drive on something larger most of the time is going to it's okay. We're not out here saying that it's not okay for you guys to have short-term gratification things. We are both human. Dave and I are both human, and we participate in things that are short-term gratifying. I'm probably going to go home and have some donuts later, and it's going to be short-term gratification. But the next day, it's, if I wake up and I make a plan to an exercise plan for a month where I'm going to be in the gym 5 days a week, and I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm not going to have maybe the best time, but I'm thinking of the long-term benefits that my body is going to get, and that I'm going to get from body positivity of like myself, and that self-realization, and that I'm happy with the way that I look and the way that I appear to others, and I'm going to be more focused because I'm exercising. When I exercise, it helps my brain focus really, really well. And think about the big picture of what you're getting out of a situation, and not just doing what seems gratifying just because of that reason, just because you're in the moment and you want to do it. You know, focus on the entire picture.
Yeah, and it seems that like just a lot of people are like indifferent, or they they don't really realize that there are things that they could be doing that make them happy that will be helpful for them. They just know the things that make them happy now, and they resort to those. So when it comes down to it, you might have the tendency to habitually resort to one form of gratification, and that's, say, playing video games. But again, it's acclimatization to gratification. So anything that's gratifying to you in your life, you're going to begin to acclimate to, or you start to get used to. So for example, if we were talking about sugar or drugs, if you consistently expose yourself to having a bunch of sugar, you're going to start to acclimate to that. Studies have found that people who consume a ton of sugar don't find things to taste as sweet. Even your body acclimates to it. So acclimatization occurs, mentally when it comes to like stimulus that's drugs or
I think it also you acclimate to something when you're not being diverse with what's gratifying you as well. I mean, a lot of studies today are showing that social media makes kids really, really unhappy, and can lead to a lot of depression and bad things like that because they're already so used to it. When you first get social media, if you ever remember how that felt when you got on and all your friends are there and you're getting all these likes and whatnot, but then when you get used to it and it becomes a necessity for you to get the dopamine hit of your comments and likes, and you acclimate to the gratification. You wake up on your phone and you're gratified when you see a message from your friend, a comment here, a like there, and people get so used to it, and they that's all they know, and it becomes just like, what's the baseline? They've acclimated to that, and they don't think that they can get anything larger in their life.
And in the same way, I mean, we acclimate to just about everything in terms of taking things for granted. I mean, if you're accustomed to always getting the things you want, and say you never have to really work for something in some respect, you're going to come to acclimate to that standard, and then you're going to just expect what you have. That's why people can be so completely rich and have all these things, but they're still not happy, as they're getting little things that gratify them. Say you could be gratified by buying something new. You get this new fancy trinket, and of course it makes you happy. It gratified you. But is that gratification, lasting? Is it something long term?
Yes.
So when it comes to the gratification itself, it's thinking about and being critically aware of what things in your life are you actually pursuing. What types of gratification are you pursuing, and is that gratification really beneficial to you?
I liked what you said a lot about lasting. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. Is it lasting? Is it gonna stay in your life? Are you pursuing something that you're gonna be proud of for a really long time, that you're gonna be happy with for a really long time, something that fills you up all the way, and doesn't just fill up just the level of your feet if you're looking at an outline of a human. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, and I found, when considering what's gratifying to you, it just really, I encourage you to just take the time to say, what is gratifying to me? Like, what do I currently, pursue that's gratifying to me? Is it helpful to me? Because what I've really found in terms of what's gratifying, what's going to be gratifying long term, is those, feasible, tangible accomplishments. You learned something that now you can apply to change your life, or you're progressing at something, whether it be a sport, or you're progressing at writing, or you're progressing at riding a bike or snowboarding or anything else. That progression, knowing you're working towards an even unachievable goal. An unachievable goal of you're never going to be able to get any better. Like, say, for example, snowboarding or something, you're never going to but working toward and improving. The act of improving is gratification that is long term, because now you have that feasible accomplishment. It was productive and beneficial to your life.
Definitely that long term. I like that a lot. Dave, if you guys don't know, actually taught me how to snowboard. I'm still in the process of learning. Plan to go a little bit this year, and I love that analogy of what you said. How that I'm going to start snowboarding, and I do that this year. I'm not going to become a professional snowboarder, but if I invest my time into snowboarding and I get better, it's going to be gratifying for me, because it's something that I'm motivated to do and will fill me up. And I think that's really cool. One thing that I wanted to touch on also was that when we say that you have I'm gonna give an example here. When you have 100 pennies, you have $1, and you can put these pennies into any slots that gratify you. And some slots will hold more pennies than others. Those bigger things will gratify you more. What I want to say is that when you go and pick what slot you want to put your penny in, those bigger ones that hold all 100 pennies, those big dreams, those are really, really hard to stick with. And sometimes, when you pick goals for yourself and you set goals for things that are going to gratify you in the long term, you have to be careful. And I just recently experienced this in my own life where I set up a goal for myself, and I'm not going to go into specifics of what it is because it doesn't matter. And I would say that I put about 80 of my pennies in it, and I thought that this was it, and it fell apart really, really fast. And the reason is because I didn't acclimate to it. I just went straight up the mountain really, really fast, and I got altitude sickness. Now, that's a really big analogy for people that don't hike mountains, and that's totally fine. I'm going to break it down a little bit more. The idea is that, if you want to go after something that's going to gratify you in a really large way, you have to start out doing things small. You have to start out setting goals for yourself that are doable, very, very doable. Okay, one of those things for me is exercise. I love to exercise. I love to get my mind cleared by doing that, but I have a really hard time setting goals that are exercise-based, that are realistic for me. Most of the time, I'll try and do something that's way over my head and just completely unrealistic. And what, when we're sitting here, we're challenging you guys to go out and, focus on what is important to you and search for gratification in that spot. Put all your pennies in things that matter to you and are going to help you. But be careful, don't try and put them all in one slot immediately because they'll fall back out. And work up to it, put 5 here, 5 there, 5 here, 5 there, and then use those skills and knowledge, all that time that you spend getting gratification from those smaller things, use that to build up to something bigger. And that's just something that I wanted to mention.
Yeah, and I mean that even might require that you'd have to, forego a lot of that, simple, immediate gratification that you can get from other means. Because if you're going to be working towards your long goal, that means you're taking all your pennies and putting them in that, box that's going to require a lot of that time and effort. Yeah. It means instead of playing those video games, instead of doing, eating and going out and drinking with your friends, and all those things that, of course, are going to make you happy, at least in the moment. Yeah, exactly. So you're going to have to make those sacrifices, at least if there's something you really want. But again, there's still kind of, there's an indifference to the idea of gratification, as far as some people, they just don't realize that they could be doing things that are gratifying to themselves, that make themselves feel good, that are also beneficial to themselves. They're stuck in the habit of resorting to those other forms of gratification. And really, when it comes to, if you want to make any real change in terms of what you do and what you're working towards, you have to then habitualize it in your life. And ideally, you have to want to do it. I mean, if something's going to be gratifying to you, say, it's going to be really gratifying to me once I meet the goal of working out, all the time, or,
5 days a week.
Yeah. If you have that goal of, doing that all the time, it needs to be something you want to do too.
Yeah.
If you're
having the strong mental commitment, I think is a lot of people struggle with that. A lot of people, like we're telling you to go put yourself into situations that are going to give you that long-term and large amounts of gratification, but you have to have a strong mental commitment. You have to know why it is you want to be doing that. That is one of the most important things, is if you don't have that why, if you don't have a reason that you can write down on a piece of paper and go shove it in your drawer, and when you go back and you question, you say, why am I doing this? Why am I getting up at 5 a.m.? Why am I working out? Why am I going to medical school? Why am I doing what I'm doing? If your mental reason in the back of your head is not good enough, you're going to stop, and all your pennies are going to fall out, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, guys, sorry. We had some technical difficulties, but we are back on the air. We are live. We're getting close to the end of the talk, though. So luckily the cameras went out at a pretty decent time. The GoPro, turns out it wasn't recording the entire time. So, bad GoPro. Dave had some finishing thoughts for you guys. Dave?
Yeah, well, just building off of what he was even saying earlier, just with knowing why you're going to do what you do. if there's a route of gratification that you want to pursue, that you want to be, productive or beneficial to your life, you're going to have to know why you want to do that in general. So really just reverting back to what we were saying at the beginning too, just really encourage you to try to take that time to, sit down, think, analyze things, really ask those questions of why? Like, why do I feel the way I do? Why is something how it is? Because you don't really realize just how much you can come to realize when you ask those questions about yourself and really yourself, and really those critical questions when it comes to purpose and meaning and gratification and happiness and joy in life. You really want to know why you feel the way you do, why you want to do the way you do, and really it's just being wise about the gratification that you're going to choose to pursue is definitely an idea of importance, or at least that we've found to be of importance. So in that same way, like we were saying, the power of an idea, we hope you can realize, and see the impact of this idea and apply it to, your life personally. Come to find and realize that ideas themselves, can have that power to really change the way you see things, the way you, live your life, and hope that you can, find other ideas beneficial. So hopefully we'll be talking about more ideas in the future too, like plenty of ideas.
We have some other talk ideas for you guys. If you guys enjoy this video, definitely let us know what you think in the comments, and we'd love to get your own ideas on this subject. We'd love to include them in future videos. We'd love you guys to ask questions. Like Dave said, it's really important to ask questions. And another thing I want to touch on is you don't have to be a philosopher to take a few minutes, every day and think about your thoughts. And I think that, sometimes, as we said before, that thinking about your thoughts and going over them in your head can be kind of scary, honestly. Taking that time out of your day to just mull over what's gone on and the reasons why something's happening and asking that why question. But, we're encouraging you to do it. It really changes your life when you start seeing things from different angles and all these different perspectives instead of just your one set perspective that you're used to. Have an open mind and...
And I mean, ideas like these, you can see that him and I just came across these ideas too from sharing, our own understandings and knowledge that we came across too. So
and personal experiences, you have to really open yourself to the world if you want to get some of your problems solved. And I think that everybody, in their life has suffering. If you ever are familiar with Buddhism, that's a common thing, is like suffering is kind of imminent and it's unavoidable. And like when you lay it out on the table and you analyze it and you figure out what's going on and the underlying reasons for things. I know that's kind of a different subject and we'll maybe discuss that later, but keep an open mind is really just what I want to say.
Yeah, and be just open and receptive to other people. Realize that everybody knows some things or have come to some realizations that themselves that could be helpful or beneficial to you. So really, if you never take the time to sit down with someone and discuss ideas of importance, you might never come to a lot of those realizations. So really it's like taking that time to actually go out, open yourself up, be able to discuss things with other people, be willing to just be receptive and open-minded to knowledge in general, and realize that learning and these ideas can be things that are change the way you see things and change the way you live your life, and
they can be beneficial. That's the biggest thing. All right, think we're good, Dave. Thank you guys so much for listening. David Solvedt, everybody. I'll plug his. David, you blow glass. Is that correct? Yes. He's actually. We're plugging his Instagram here. He makes some really, really sweet stuff. I'll actually get this close up in this camera right here. He made this for me. Very cool. I will link his Instagram. I don't know what. There is somebody just destroying our video right now. All right. He's a monster. Anyway, I will plug David's. That just destroyed the audio. It's a huge waveform. I'll plug his channel at the end of this, and thank you for being here. And like I said earlier, leave a comment below if you guys have questions, and we'd love to answer them in another video. And stay tuned for more ideas, because me and Dave have got some other ones. So thank you guys for watching.
Take care, guys.